Art. Art is all around us constantly, from graphic design in ads to carpentry in the furniture we use, clothes, or in traditional media like drawing or painting. Art is such a central part to our lives. It is inescapable. Everything we see on a daily basis looks the way it does because of somebody who designed it to look that way for aesthetic reasons, which is a core principle of art. Creating for hobby and leisure is what makes us human, and if people realized how valuable having art be accessible was, they would demand it. So why are the arts still so undersupported? In schools, whenever there are budgetary constraints, the art program is often the first to get cut, as they are seen as less essential than other core subjects. And with schools focusing on standardized testing scores, creative subjects are often pushed aside or forgotten. Because of the difficulty to test, school districts don't think it will get them the scores they desire. However, it is the participation in these very subjects that provides students with overall academic and personal growth. Critical thinking and problem-solving skills, along with fostering higher emotional intelligence, social emotional development, and empathy. I will now go into more detail on each of the benefits that stem from this. Firstly, students' well-being. A literature review from the Frontiers in Psychology outlined several studies linking aesthetic experiences with broad improvements in students' emotional states that promote physical and psychological well-being. Giving learners the time, space, and materials for creative expression can lower stress, improve memory, and make them feel more socially connected to each other. Appreciation for art also makes a significant difference in people's lives on a macro level. Entire societies gain and prosper from the investment in arts, and according to researchers from the University of Illinois, they also found that being a creator, or even just observing art, returns higher levels of civic engagement and social tolerance, meaning students grow up with an increased sense of inclusion and respect for their peers. With civic engagement meaning they desire to work together more to improve society. Building a bit off of the last point, this also has a significant impact on mental health. Not just for students, but everyone can benefit greatly from using art as a means for emotional self-regulation and stress reduction. But specific types of art in schools, like hands-on visual arts, like for example, pottery or drawing and painting, are nonverbal emotional outlets that reduce stress through calming repetitive actions and offer a way to process trauma or overwhelming feelings in a safe environment. And this structured environment ultimately enhances self-expression and resilience. Rhythmic performing arts are also a great outlet for self-expression and provide relaxation and comfort by shifting one's focus to deep concentration. For students who may be having a hard time expressing themselves with words, art is crucial for them to have a creative outlet to process their emotions with. And how does this directly affect performance in school? Well, research published in the Science of Learning found that students who participated in at least 2 semesters worth of art achieved higher grades in language arts and math, along with an overall improvement in their GPA. Additional research from Johns Hopkins University found that instruction became more effective whenever educators integrated creative activities in their teachings. A 2024 survey from the National Association of Colleges and Employers showed that employers are increasingly becoming more interested in hiring professionals with skills that can be strengthened through participation in art, such as communication, problem solving, teamwork, and taking creative initiative. In fact, students who participated in arts in secondary schools are 86% more likely to attend college than students who did not participate, and 17% more likely to graduate from college for students who didn't participate in art. As for test scores, students with a minimum of 4 years of art education scored over 150 points higher on the SAT than students with only 6 months or less in art classes taken. There is a clear benefit for students who have the opportunity to take classes in the arts, yet schools always choose this department to first be cut when allocating funds. For students in low-income areas where school budgets are already tight, they may never get the opportunity to participate in this subject, which already puts them at an even farther disadvantage from their peers. If schools saw how beneficial this was, they would fight harder to keep art education within their institutions. And through seeking federal or state grants, local and community funding, or promoting the school's art programs through community projects, they could continue to support the students' needs. So I would now like to take this time to answer any questions. Oh, Mark.
Yeah, I think the point you're making is extremely important. I think that the educational system can help. I, as a student, have a certain number of requirements that I need to accomplish in order to get my degree. Do you believe that by the educational system making a requirement that art taken could help the situation?
I do, because school can be stressful, and even if school's not stressful, there's other things in your life, and it's important to have a creative outlet. And as I mentioned before, art can help with many other subjects. It, increases like your focus, it increases math and science, and just overall grades and mental health. And I think having art be a requirement would show people that it is an important subject.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I took graphic design in high school, all 4 years, and then my sister, she did art, like drawing and stuff like that in her art class, and then she ended up, because in her senior year, she ended up having 2 free periods, so she ended up having 2 art classes, and one of them, or both of them, she was the same teacher. Her senior year was really hard, her grandfather passed away, and so she used that art class as a escape from everything else that was going on. The reason why I'm telling you this is because, do you feel like schools should not limit students from taking 1 to 2 art classes? So like she had 2. If you're able to, as an elective, take 2 of a similar variation of an art class, do you think that they should be allowed to do that, or even more?
Yeah, I think you should be allowed to take as much art as you want. I mean, sometimes you can double up on subjects. Whenever I was in high school, I took 3 math classes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think art should be seen as a core subject also. It can help in so many ways also. And art really does improve someone's mental health. That's why art has been used so many times in different types of therapies. There's like visual art, there's drawing art, visual therapy, I mean. And I don't think it's a problem to want to double up on subjects. If you want to take them, I think that should be your right. So I'm glad your sister was able to take multiple art, and it sounds like it helped her, so I'm glad about that. Any other questions?
So I think I've been in a couple art programs, like the Art Institute of Phoenix and stuff like that. I went over to Huntington and take a tour, and then I see what we have available here. And I'm like, dang, we're like lacking compared to Europe and Japan and stuff like that, because those schools, you can go there and they take it real serious. They have a lot of equipment for the students to build a career. Well, I don't know how expensive those schools are, but there's a lot of money to be made in the art industry like graphic design and stuff like that, and animation, and Hollywood, is like taking over, and we're seeing like cartoons have success and stuff like that. Do you think, in your research, is it your opinion that maybe the jobs aren't respected that we could turn into? Is that why these art departments are the budgets are getting cut? Or
I think it is a little bit of that, but also people aren't aware of what art, how it affects people. I think it is not also a little bit of that. They're not really that respected. People kind of see art as something childish and something that won't get you far. Like a lot of people say there's no money in art, but art is increasingly becoming more of a career that can bring money, like graphic design. Everything now is digital. There's a lot of ads and everything we see. Everything is catered to catch someone's attention, and that's art. That's a type of art, it's graphic design. And I think it's not respected because there isn't much research on it, and there's not like much known that it does all of these effects. So I think it is a little bit of both, but I think if we did more research and implemented it into schools and, like I said, making it a core subject, that would make people more knowledgeable about it, and it would help people know that it is respected and it should be something implemented in everyone's lives, because it improves everyone. Thank you. So, with all of the benefits our education offers to young minds, you would think that schools would push for increased participation and in turn more funding. Instead, they would rather promote scores from a core subject, not realizing that students would dramatically improve in all aspects, including educational, if they only had a creative outlet to express themselves in. In the future, I hope to see more schools take art education more seriously, and I hope you all create more art in the future too, because it's good for you. Thank you.